sound speeds. And if you're in the market for a 100% analog preamplifier that has a lot of gain claiming to be clean, then pay close attention because I'm going to introduce you to a product that might fit the bill in your setup. But before we get going, full disclosure, Rodyweil is, I guess, the name we pronounce the company. I did ask phonetically how you pronounce it, and they never responded back. Did send me the R003 preamplifier in exchange for a fair and honest evaluation. I do get to keep it following this evaluation, but I'm not going to allow that to affect my opinion, so you can expect this to be a fair and honest evaluation. If I didn't already tell you there was a microphone preamplifier inside this box, what would you guess is in here? I mean, it's obviously a professional audio system of some sort, but the back is no indicator, nor is any of the faces on this entire thing, except it does tell you right there a list of audio components. I mean, it doesn't tell you what's inside the box or anything. There's no packing list, but there is a sticker there that tells you the manufacturer name and the model number. That is the only indicator of what is on the inside of this box, and that is that it is a microphone preamplifier. Now, I will tell you this. This does have the Rodyweil. I'm sorry, you didn't tell me how to pronounce the name. I'm going to call it like I see it. And this is R003, the model number. Now, what is the build quality? This is a generic style box that you can put any component that you want to in there. However, I will say there is quite a bit of weight to it, which gives me an indicator that there's some sort of quality inside of it. Now, I'm not an engineer. Otherwise, I would be able to make heads and tails out of this video that they sent me that shows one of their technicians testing the inside of this particular device. Now, it's not this actual one. It was just a video of them testing one of the ones that hit their line. Now, a couple of things to stand out. They are actually testing, or at least they claim to be with this video, testing each and every component that goes through there with stickers on the inside. Now, I am not going to take this apart. Who do you think I am, Julian Krause? No. What I will do is test the components just fine. But this is the video that they sent me, and I don't know if they accidentally sent it to me or not, but I thought I would share it with you just because it is pretty cool to see their technicians hard at work. Now, what I will tell you is that if you try plugging things up to it, the components feel pretty solid. They do not give at all when you plug up something to it. So it doesn't matter if it's the female end or the male end of an XLR connector. It doesn't matter if it is a phone. Anything you plug into this, it doesn't move. It does not wobble or anything like that. It doesn't give. It doesn't give me any indicator that there is a quality downfall at all. So I would say the quality is pretty good, even with the buttons, which do not give more than just a tiny little bit. There's a little tiny bit, but it's not like I'm worried about this breaking or anything like that if I press it too much. And as for the knob, it almost doesn't give at all. It's like solid in there, and it does twist very smoothly. So all in all, I would say the build quality is pretty impressive. Let's start off by looking at the back where there is a power input from a power supply. So that means that when it supplies 48 volts phantom power, it's not getting that and passing it on through from your interface, mixer, or recorder. It is generating it itself from the circuitry on the inside here. So we got to see how quiet that is. There's also two TRS type inputs that are 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter that go out line level and go out mic out. And then there's a balanced output as well. Now, the one thing that the specs do not tell you online or in the paperwork is literally half of one sheet of paper. And one thing I was looking for that never found either here or on a website is if the balanced output is professional or consumer line level out. So is it plus 4 dB or is it negative 10 dB? I'm going to have to test it and see. But that is something that I was looking for and did not find. This is quite literally what they call a manual. And there's not a whole lot of information that we really find to be important. But I mean, I guess it's better to have this than nothing. We're going to start by testing the balanced output level of the Rodyweil R003. I suspect it's probably plus 4 dB professional line level since it says professional all over the box. But we're going to test it, and the way we're going to do that is by starting with the Behringer CT100 cable tester and tone generator, and we're going to create a test tone outputting it at negative 50 dB mic level. We're going to go out through the cables and go in to the microphone input level. And you can see that right now my level is all the way down. Now, if I were to add approximately 50 decibels that is going to make a 0 dB signal from the negative 50 mic level input. So basically, negative 50 plus 50 is going to create a 0 dB line level output. Now, if I output here and it is 0 dB, then my level here, which is set to 0 dB gain on the Sound Devices Mix Pre 6, that should clip right as I hit 50 dB. If it is professional line level plus 4 dB, then it should peak before I hit to 50 dB here. And if it is consumer line level, then it's basically going to require about 60 decibels or so of gain before it's going to clip. And we're going to look for a little orange light showing up over there. So now that we're generating our test tone going out, we're going to start to raise this up, and we're watching for this bottom level for 3 to raise up until the little orange clip light comes on. It's getting close up. It just came on right there, all the way on the right. I'm going to back this off a little bit. Now I'm going to slowly increase it a little bit until we see, it just came on. I'm going to back off just a little bit. Where is it? Right there. Okay. And go up a little bit until it hits right there. So that is the point when we are just starting to clip at 0 dB. So I'm going to back it off ever so slightly, and it just went off. And we're going to look at our gain, and our gain is set to 50 decibels. So this negative 50 dB signal is adding 50 decibels to it and outputting at 0 dB, going into the Mix Pre 6 line level at 0 dB, and we're clipping right at the 0 dB mark. So this is actually outputting accurately as far as I can tell. Because this is a 100% analog input and output preamplifier, there really is no EIN measurement that we can do, because EIN is more of a digital thing. But we can spoof it a little bit, and we're going to do that in this video. Let me show you how. We're going back down here to the Behringer CT100 where we left it off. We're outputting a test tone signal at negative 50 dB and going in right now to the Rodyweil R003. And it is supplying its very minimum, which is 19 decibels of gain. I can't start to go up on this, because if I do, there's really no way for me to tell exactly how much gain I'm adding. It can be approximate, but there's no real world way to test it. So by going all the way down, I know for a fact that this is only adding 19 decibels to the negative 50 dB signal. So if I were to record this on the Mix Pre 6, which is what I'm going to do right now, this signal, this test tone signal, should be at a negative 31 dB level when we input this audio level into post. And once we test this and calibrate this to be a test tone at negative 31 decibels, then what we can do is unplug this, and we can add on top of it now our 150 ohm dummy XLR. And then if we increase the gain all the way to plus 75 dB, we can now get a proper gain measurement, and we're going to be able to do the calculations in post to see exactly what the real world EIN would technically be if this were a digital preamp. Here we are in iZotope RX, and we're going to start by looking at a small portion of the test tone that we recorded. Now, this level, if you remember, was negative 50 decibels, and we were adding only 19 decibels of gain to it. So this should be around negative 31 dB in level. And look at that, it's almost spot on. Look at the total RMS level right there, negative 31.40. So let's go ahead and add, just to make sure that it's accurate, we're going to add 0.4 decibels. So I'm going to select the entire thing. We're going to add that. And now if we test it, look at that, negative 31 dB. So now we know this is calibrated analog to the digital dBFS meter. So we're spoofing pretty well so far. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to test an area of the noise floor after I raise the gain up all the way plus 75 dB. Now look at our level now. Total RMS level is negative 59.03. So let's go ahead and take negative 59.03. Now that's our level right there. But that is not our total level, because that is what the noise floor is when we increase the gain all the way up to its maximum, which is where you need in order to test the EIN of whatever it is that you're testing. So we need to subtract from this the total amount of gain that we had in the line at that point in time, which is 75 decibels. So let's subtract 75 dB, and we end up with negative 134.03, which is below the theoretical EIN limit. So I would say that the preamps are quite quiet on this particular Rodyweil R003. When it comes to testing out the quality of a preamplifier, then I don't know of a better microphone to use than this Shure SM7B because it requires approximately 59 decibels of gain to create a 0 dB level out of it. Now, if you're speaking loud, you can back off on that gain a little bit, or if you're speaking quiet, you need to increase the gain a little bit. And it also matters how far away you are from the microphone. Now, what I'm going to do is right now it is set to 59 decibels of gain. I'm going to increase it all the way to plus 75, and we're going to see how this sounds. If I say anything louder than a whisper, oh, that sounds too crinkly for my taste. Oh, this thing is so sensitive now. But I mean, I could back way off. And you're starting to get some interference from other sources around here. That's the microphone, though. Yeah, that's the microphone picking up different things. This is so sensitive now. I mean, it's quiet. I'm going to back off just a little bit. I mean, it's so sensitive. When you take that gain all the way up to the very, very top, that's logarithmic for you. I mean, that's the way it is. You can increase it from negative 19 or adding 19 decibels of gain to adding 21. And if you look over there, you can see 21 decibels. And that's a whole, little bit there. The next gain is 23, then 25, 30. High noon is at 35. Let me back this thing off a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better now. So if I were to go from 19 decibels to the high noon 35 decibels, it is going to create only and add only about 16 decibels of gain. And to go all the way from 61 to 75, that is adding 14 decibels, and that's only the last two little bitty things on there. So by that point, it's extremely sensitive. So if you add that much gain, then you're going to have to be very, very sensitive on your fingers because it's going to be delicate. You have to barely touch it, and it's going to increase your gain quite a bit. I don't know why they designed it that way, but what I can tell you is that I trust it when it says it is very sensitive and it has clean gain, because this does sound very clean to me despite being very far away. I wouldn't think that there's a problem in the world with this as a preamplifier for your audio setup. Off camera, I did test this other microphone instrument input, but only with a microphone. And I did test to make sure that the mic out and the line level out also worked. Everything works great and as expected. The noise floor was very acceptable, even on those unbalanced outputs, even though they were TRS and very, very small. So I would actually say this unit has surprised me. It's at a price point as of the time of this video at $100, and I have links down in the description if you are interested. It seems to be worth the money to me if you are looking for a very good quality preamplifier with a very low noise floor on a preamp. And this is completely analog, so it can go into anything you would like to. It does not have any digital audio converter, digital to analog converters or analog to digital converters, any of that stuff. It is completely analog. So to me, this is actually a good tool to have, because this is just a preamplifier that will go out line level into whatever your interface is. So even if you have an interface or a recorder that has a very high noise floor on the input level on the preamps, then you can use this and go in line level, and it's going to probably reduce the noise of your recording quite a bit. So I actually say thumbs up. I'll actually say 2 thumbs up on this one, because this is actually quite surprising as a unit. So thank you for tuning into this episode of SoundSpeeds. Be sure to tune in the future for more surprisingly good reviews on products that I wasn't expecting it to be as good as I was expecting it to be. And of course, as always, I can't even speak at this point, sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.